next one, we have Phil. So, Phil, it's over to you with your advanced zooming, my friend.
Thanks, Joe. I think I was the only person that decided to think, oh, let's put my face on it. I don't know why, but here we are. So yeah, morning everyone. I'm Phil, founder of personal branding agency, sorry, of Ossai. And I'm super excited to talk to you all about the compound effect of personal branding. So when you think of the term personal branding, what comes to mind? What would happen if I added the phrase compound effect after it? Bet you've never heard these phrases being used in the same sentence. I know this because when I speak to CEOs and heads of marketing, I always get a puzzled look when I try and explain the concept to them. However, there are a few that do understand this concept and understand the power behind it. I'm sure you've heard of at least one of these brands. Why? Chances are you've heard of the founder, maybe the manager, or possibly even one of the interns. So it's a really interesting idea when you start to look at the effects of building the reputation of staff in unison. So especially with aligned objectives, the effect this has on company culture, brand awareness, talent retention, and most importantly, top line revenue is pretty enormous. And I've been fascinated by this for a while now. So that's the reason this mini agency exists. So I've been running Ossai for probably a few months now. Funny name for a personal branding agency, literally named after myself. But the aim is to build personal brands of forward-thinking founders and CEOs, but also their teams. So from senior leadership to sales to even executive level. So there aren't actually many agencies of this kind. So it is a bit uncharted territory, but it's nerve-wracking, but just as exciting. I mean, that's what marketing is all about, right? So yeah, seeing how brands and agencies like Thursday and Rise at 7 who have benefited from compounded personal brands, I want to run a little experiment for myself to see this effect in action. So meet Mills, the subject of my crazy experiment, who is the founder of Tapin. It's a media agency with the objective of helping 100 million young people get into the world of work. So it's all pretty exciting stuff. The other two guinea pigs in this experiment is creative director Louis and account manager Derek. So the early results of this study has been pretty fascinating, and I'm more than happy to share it with anyone that's interested to see the full results. But I just want to focus on last week's results and the two main takeaways I've got that I'd love to share with you all. So number one is post performance. So the three accounts resulted in a combined reach of 115,000 views, 1,300 reactions, and 280 comments in the space of 5 days or a week. But when you look at Louis' performance, it's pretty interesting because as Louis has the least work experience and seniority out of the three, he actually had the best results. So he outperformed Derek and Mills in all three categories. And it's crazy to think that he gained 45,000 impressions from a profile that literally has 350 connections. Takeaway number two is the opportunities. So a lot of opportunities actually did flood into Mills's profile, from business leads to speaking opportunities to even recruitment. And many of these opportunities can actually be traced back to Louis and Derek's posts. So I guess from all of this, what are some things we can take away? I've got three for you. Number one, everyone, regardless of seniority, has something valuable to say. Number two, what's common knowledge to one person may be a game changer to another or very insightful. And number three, personal branding is less about self-improvement and more about self-packaging. So the posts that we created derived from diving deep into the personal and professional experience of each of them, and sharing that rather than trying to find ways to polish their stories. So these are pretty exciting results, and they do support the statistics that on average employees have 10 times more followers and reach than company social accounts. But it doesn't seem to be a widespread concept, even when the numbers support this. So I guess the question that comes to mind is, why don't organizations choose to invest in the personal brands of their staff? A large percentage of CEOs don't actually post on social media, even though one post from their account could outperform company posts by a ridiculous amount. And furthermore, Sheryl Sandberg, who is the COO at Meta, once said, "We don't have brands as individuals, and not to bother packaging ourselves as professionals. And it was pretty surprising to hear this from literally the executive at the biggest social media platform in the world. I mean, I've done my homework. Don't be wrong; she's active on Facebook, but to me, I think that's probably part of her contract. She literally doesn't have a profile picture on LinkedIn and has never engaged in the platform. And to me, that kind of doesn't make sense because you can only imagine the number of people that are looking to get in touch with her with countless business opportunities. So I guess, how do we get to the bottom and the root of the issue and understand what's necessary to spark a change? And I guess it all starts with that cliche word, culture. It's the truth though. I think I've come to realize that this is a leadership challenge as much as it is a marketing challenge. And getting buy-in from senior leadership will begin that trickle-down effect on the rest of the company. So here are 3 ways to encourage personal branding within your organization. Number 1, start with why. So try to align the personal branding vision with the overall mission of the organization. Of course, this is easier when the company is small, but it's still possible with a larger organization. Number 2, remain data focused. So show, don't tell. So from my experience, numbers will do more convincing than anything else you can say. And number 3, start small and prove the ROI. So no different from sorry, I've just noticed I've made a mistake on my key takeaways, but we'll keep going. So yeah, so start small is the 3rd one, and then prove the ROI of personal branding. So no different from the example I showed with Tap In. I showed, so no different from the early example. I had to first prove the profitability of Mills's personal brand before moving on to Derek's and Louis'. So I guess all I'm asking for you to take on board from what you've heard today is to understand the untapped potential within your staff and their personal brands, and their stories and learnings are worth sharing and will do a lot more for you than dumping your marketing budgets to promote a logo with no face. So I'm putting together a little video playbook that'll go into more detail on how to incorporate personal branding step by step into your company. I know us marketers love a good QR code, so get your phones out, scan the code, and I'll pop you a link when the report's live. Thanks for listening.
That was a wicked, dude. It's so interesting as well. I never really heard anyone speak about it in that kind of way, but it just makes so much sense. So thank you for sharing that. I mean, that's exactly the point of these sessions, that we can provide something that is short, sharp, well delivered, and game changing. So thank you so much, mate. Well done.